Guys, I am very, very excited for our very first episode of The Influencer. And so this show is all about bringing people on that can help you grow your business. And I've got a great guest for our very first episode, Mr. Jim McCord. Jim, thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me, Brandon.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things in today's show. You're going to get a lot of actionable takeaways, things that you can do to grow your real estate business. So before we jump in, Jim, just introduce yourself to people that are watching this show today and in the future.
Okay, it's funny, I got licensed back in 1993, and I've been a full-time agent ever since. And I got into the business, and I'll tell you why I got in. It's in my book, and I'm sure we'll talk about that, but I have a chapter in the book, Why I Got Into Real Estate. My wife and I, we had a couple small children, and we were looking to buy a house. And I had a cousin who was in the real estate business. And I thought, oh, I'm going to call Dick. He'll take care of us. Well, we called Dick, and I am not kidding you, Brandon. He tried to sell us every single house that we walked in. He literally would say things like, Jimmy, this is a hot one. This one's going to go quick. I have a contract in the car. I think we should write it up. And I didn't know anything. I'm in my 20s, and I'm thinking, wow, market's that hot? But he did it with like every house. We looked at 7 or 8 houses. So I told my wife, I said, Amy, I don't believe that. I said, I just don't believe it's that good. I'm going to try another agent. So we went to another agent, and she was a cousin also. She wasn't quite as bad, but it was like pushy. So then I went through 3 or 4 other agents before we ended up buying the house. I did find a really good agent. And, fast forward about 10 years after that, I was always in sales, but I was a little frustrated with my corporate sales position. And I thought, what can I do to stay in sales and kind of be my own boss? And I looked into everything. And I thought, you know what, if somebody gets into real estate and they treat people the way people want to be treated, as opposed to the way we were treated when we were looking to buy a house, maybe they could do really good. So that's why I got into real estate. That was back in 1993. Didn't really have a clue. I knew how to sell. So what I did is I went down to our board. It was Campbell County Board of Realtors. Back then, we used to have actual individual boards for each county. Now we have one board with all counties. But I went to our local county board, and I asked them who the top agent was last year, and they gave me his name. And I'd never heard of him. I remember seeing his signs, but I called him up. I said, Dave, I'm thinking about getting into real estate. Can I take you to breakfast or lunch? So he said, of course you can. So we had a great lunch, and I said, I think I'm going to work in your office. He was working for the #1 real estate company at the time in Cincinnati. It was called West Shell Realtors. So I worked there, and I tell you what I did, Brandon, to learn. I picked the spot closest to Dave's office. He was the top agent, so he had his own office. And I picked the empty desk closest to his office so I could listen to how he talked and what he was doing. And, I just picked up stuff on him, asked, because I'm a big believer in not reinventing the wheel. So I did a lot of stuff that I learned from Dave. And that first year, I was Rookie of the Year for the company, sold 27 homes. And things just kind of progressed from there.
That's great. That's great. And now you're doing a lot of great work in the real estate space. You do some coaching. You wrote an awesome book we're going to talk about here in just a second. And now you're helping agents grow their business through, I guess what I would call direct mail marketing, because I would think the #1 challenge for real estate agents specifically, but for any salesperson, is how do I generate new business and how do I generate referrals? And so, Jim, you have a great methodology to do both of those things through a company called Banner Season. Can you walk the audience through your strategy and how you use this very, very powerful tool?
I certainly will, but let me back up just back to like 1993 again, because what I did, and I was very successful at it, was I did the conventional real estate marketing. I listened to Dave, I did what he did. And the top coaching organization, who is still around now, I won't mention their name, but they're still around. I paid them for a couple years. And what they taught me was cold phone calling, like 50 or to 100 cold phone calls a day, just through the Haynes directory. People don't even probably know what that is now, but 50 to 100 cold phone calls a day and then knock on 25 doors on the weekend. And I did that, and I did a lot of that my first 10, 15 years. And you know what? That works. And I also did farming, farming, mailing to an area of 400 to 700 homes, mail to them quarterly. If you have time, knock on their door sometimes. So you're kind of building up your name in that farm. Those are kind of the three conventional ways of selling real estate. Still taught today. And do they work? Yes, they do. But let's face it, people don't like getting cold phone calls. And in this market, nobody wants a stranger knocking at their door. Nobody does. So I guess it was like 12 years ago, it was another company. It wasn't Banner Season, but it was a similar company. I started using them because you could send custom greeting cards. And I started putting the photo, instead of like sending my company information I've been with 6 different companies over the years. And whatever company you're with, they tell you to push their brand because it's their company and that's what they want you to push, And that seemed to make sense, and that's what most realtors do. But I started, instead of pushing the brand and pushing me, I started putting the photo, because I'm big into prospecting. For sale by owners and expireds in my sphere is where I spend all my time and all my money. Nowhere else. I don't believe in farming at all anymore. And if you go after for sale by owners or expireds, you need to be different, or you're just like everybody else. And if you're like everybody else, you got to hound them on the phone. You just constantly knock at their door, pressure, and they don't like that. But when they get an envelope in the mail and they open up that card and that has a photo of their house on it, their house. And that's what we can do with Banner Season. And I'll give you some examples. This is the larger card. And this actually isn't the card. This is the envelope. So most people get between 2 and 10 pieces of mail a day. And they come home from work or they walk out of their house to the mailbox and they pull those 8 or 9 pieces out. And there's a large envelope with a photo of their house. Imagine that is your house. They're thinking, who did that? Certainly it's the first time they ever got an envelope with a photo of their house on it. So then they're going to open that envelope up first, which is what they do. And they pull a big, heavy stock card out. And on that card is also a photo of their house. And you can put wording right on top of the photo. On this one, I put charming home, great location. And then on the inside, you put your message. I'm with Keller Williams now. Yeah. And you design the back. And, when they get something like that in the mail, as opposed to all the phone calls and all the mailings from all the other realtors pushing Keller Williams and EXP and RE/MAX and Coldwell Banker and Sotheby's and you name it, everybody's the same. But my packages are different because it's about them, not about me. So that was a 5x7 card, or that was the 8.5x11 card where you can design the envelope. But they also have 5x7 cards, which I use a lot. And same thing, only it's a smaller card, photo of their house on the front. On the inside, you put your message, whatever you want your message to be. It should be short and sweet. Then your information, your photo, and your brand. So your brand and your photo and your information is in the card, but the gist of it is about them. And through Banner Season, as you know, Brandon, not only can you send customized cards, but you can send customized gifts. So quite often I'll send 2 or 4 brownies along with that card with a photo of their house on it. And these brownies, I'm sure you've tasted them, are absolutely delicious. They're just delicious.
They are. They're amazing.
Yeah, and that's why it works. And so for prospecting, it's phenomenal, whether it's an expired listing or a for sale by owner, when they're getting an envelope or they're getting a box. And they open that box and they see a photo of their house on the front of that card. And then below that, they see some brownies. Or they see, you can also send, and I do this quite often too. This was a for sale by owner. And it was kind of a cloudy day, so it wasn't a great photo of the house. But it doesn't matter because it's still their house. And on this one, I typed, sometimes I'll make the house the entire photo. Sometimes I won't. If it's a good, crisp photo, I'll do that. Like this, and if it's not, then I'll make it a little smaller and put a background on it. But on this one, I put awesome family home, great location, and then on the inside is my information. And on the back, I put a photo of the back of their home. I mean, this is impressive. And along with this card, they got this coffee mug with a photo of their house on it. Home sweet home. Now, I share this with realtors, and a lot of realtors say, well, Jim, They don't want a coffee mug with a photo of the home they're selling. And I say, are you kidding me? I've been doing this for years now. And of course they do, because they lived in this home for years. And yeah, they are selling this home, but do you think they're not going to keep this as a keepsake? And it just really, really sets you apart. It's
I
a
love
phenomenal
it.
product. Yeah.
Could not agree more. I think there's a great book out there, and I forget the exact name of it, but talks about blue oceans, red oceans. It's really a sales and marketing book. And what it talks about is exactly, Jim, what you had mentioned. And that is, how does a real estate agent stand out in a very crowded place of realtors, especially right now as the market has grown, tremendously over the past 5-7 years. How does an agent stand out? And I would agree with you 100%. I think when it comes to new business prospecting, FSBOs and expireds are the low-hanging fruit. And so you teach this methodology with coaching agents. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it has always amazed me, and I'm not knocking it, because I use those same tactics for my first 15 years. I did that conventional cold phone calling, mass mailing of my company's information, and door knocking and farming. I did that. It does work. But, when you want to sales, no matter what kind of sales you're in, it's all about building relationships. And when everything you're sending them is all about you, it's not going to be nearly as powerful as if you make it about them, which is why it works. So I started doing that about 12 years ago. It worked phenomenally well. I started making some YouTube videos to share these products with other realtors. And that worked really well. So I wrote a book, and it's funny because my friends still make fun. They say, McCord wrote a book. Are you kidding me? Because I wasn't like the top student in the class, not even close to it. But, I wrote this book. It's called A Revolution in Real Estate Sales. And I put that, when I first wrote it, I put it on Amazon as an ebook, because I thought same thing. I thought, well, I know it's good information, but it probably won't sell. So I didn't want to pay to have it actually printed and published. So I threw it on Amazon March 17th. I remember St. Patrick's Day 5 years ago. And within like 3 months, I made $4,000 on a $4.95 ebook. And so then I had enough money. Yeah, I had enough money to print 1,000 copies, and I printed those. And then when the book got on there, it very quickly became a #1 bestseller in real estate. So the book that you'll see on Amazon right now is a slightly different version. This is the updated version to reflect banner season. People can get this book on bannerseason.com. Actually, you can get it for $7.95 on $7.99 on bannerseason.com. If you go to Amazon, the first version is $14.95 on Amazon.com. But anyway, I wrote the book, and the book sold very well. So I started getting phone calls very quickly. And to this day, I get phone calls every day from realtors around the country asking me questions. And I love talking to realtors, because I really think, Brandon, and I know the kind of business you do and the kind of coaching you do, and I have it actually in a chapter in the book, Why the Public Distrusts Real Estate Agents. Gallup does a poll every year. And the real estate industry, we as agents are ranked below lawyers in public trust. Below lawyers. And and I'm not knocking lawyers, but that's just what they think of us. So I really think that we need a change in the industry. And I think we need to hire more full-time realtors. And, it just boggles my mind. So anyway, I got all those calls from all those realtors. And after the book came out, and I thought, you know what, I don't mind giving free advice, but, at that time, it was 23 years of selling, I thought, maybe I should try coaching. So I did some coaching part-time while I was still selling homes, and really, really enjoyed it. Absolutely loved it. So I quit selling about 2 years ago, and now I strictly coach realtors around the country.
Awesome. So if an agent watching this wants to learn your methodology of, using banner season, differentiating themselves in the marketplace, using direct mail as their prospecting method, how do they reach out to you? How do they find you? How do they learn more about your coaching?
Well, I have a website at revolutionrealestate.com. And there's a lot of information on there. It's all real estate. And I think I have 15 or 20 different videos. My YouTube page has over 170 videos on it. Now, I will caution you, because when you go to my YouTube page and you click on my videos, the first probably 15 or 17 videos you're going to see just from the last few weeks are running videos, because I also co-wrote a book, Across America on Foot. 27 of us wrote this book. It's not my book only, but I ran across America from San Diego to Washington, D.C. 27 of us wrote this book, and I'm doing YouTube interviews of all 27 authors. So
That's
just
awesome.
scroll down past the running it videos and go to the real estate videos, and you'll get all kind of ideas.
That's great. Because that's the thing, right? Even with my students in my training program, and I specialize in for sale by owners, one of the things that I really teach is something that I call, Jim, reverse selling, building relationships rather than being a high pressure, pushy salesperson. And so, my students, they get all kinds of banner season campaigns as well. And it's been a big influence because of you, right? And so I think you're doing a great, great service in the real estate community. And I can't thank you enough for everything that you're doing.
Well, I'll say one more thing, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I like to recruit agents like you do too, Brandon, into the business, new agents. And I'm not going to say all brokers and all real estate owners and managers are like this, but we all know, everybody who's been in this business for a while, the majority of brokers and managers will take just about anybody in the office if they pass the real estate test.
Yep.
And that's a huge problem. And why is that a problem? It's a problem because the barrier of entry is too easy. So many people are getting in, and they're getting in, they're not working it full time, and they give us all a bad name, which is why real estate agents are ranked below lawyers and public trusts on the Gallup poll every single year. And I tell the agents that call me that are interested in getting into real estate, I say, look, you may or may not believe this, but you will once you get in the industry. You have an opportunity in this industry unlike any other industry I know. And I say that because there is, we have somewhere between 1.5 million and 2 million realtors nationwide. Now that's going to shrink a lot because of what's going on right now.
That is.
But 90% of them are not working. And that's just a fact. 90% of that 1.5 million agents are not working. And it's so easy, even if you're brand new, if you'll do this full time and you'll be different than other realtors, you can jump right into the real estate industry and make 50 or 100,000 your first year, and your second year you can make 200,000 and up. But it's work, and most agents don't realize that, so they get in the business. In statistics, and our statistics show, and it's been true right around the same figure for all 27 years I've been licensed. Within 2 years of getting licensed, 80% of newly licensed realtors will have left the industry within 2 years. And why is that? It's because they think it's easy. They get in. They don't really know what they're doing. They don't prospect. You have to prospect to get business. And then on top of prospecting, if you prospect and work your sphere, there's no other industry that you can jump right in and make 100,000 your first year, 200,000 and up. The sky's the limit.
We are so on the same page. It's unbelievable, and, not to go down a rabbit hole, but, that's exactly right. People come into this industry thinking it's one thing just to find out that it's a completely different thing, and you nailed it. People won't prospect. They won't work their sphere. And then the third thing I would add is they don't work on their skill set, right? Because once they work on prospecting and marketing and have an appointment with an expired listing or have an appointment with the for sale by owner, guess what? They don't know what to say when they get there. So all of those reasons makes this business very difficult, but at the same time, it's a phenomenal business for people that are willing to work. So Jim, how can people get a hold of you? They want to learn more about working with you. I know you've got your YouTube channel, you've got your book. What's the best place for people to connect with you?
revolutionrealestate.com. You can connect with me on, that's a website, my Facebook page. Go to my YouTube page and subscribe, and you should go to Brandon's page and subscribe also. And you mentioned earlier, Brandon, that let me just say this because it came to mind while you were talking. Agents get in the business and they get out because they're told by their brokers and are told by most coaches that they need to make all these phone calls. Brokers give like 15 or 20 different things. And if you read most real estate books, there's 15 or 20 different things that they suggest that realtors do. Well, there's no way you can do 15 or 20 different things. You're going to be a master of none of them.
That's right.
And most agents, the great majority, will not make all those phone calls. They won't go door knocking. They won't prospect. They won't spend the money to farm. And I don't believe in any of those. But if they'll use this product that you and I got into, all they need to do is prospect 2 or 3 homes a day. And that's not cold phone calling. It's not door knocking. 2 or 3 a day from the comfort of their house or their office, and send products like these out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, those agents can really break into the business. So I would like them, if they want to check out Banner Season, because I introduced you to Banner Season, they should go to bannerseason.com, and I want you to give your invitation code.
Absolutely. So if you guys go to bannerseason.com, the invitation code is BannerSeasonRE. I'm going to put a link beneath this video in the description. All you have to do is click on that link. That'll allow you access into the Banner Season platform, so you can start implementing all of the tactics and strategies that Jim's talked about on this video. And I teach the same thing to my students as well. You guys, this is such a powerful, powerful thing. And I think, Jim, the one thing I guess I'll add is agents should act quickly, right? There's not a lot of people that are implementing this strategy right now. And so if they do this quickly, they can quickly become that standout agent in their marketplace amongst a very, very, very crowded space of other real estate agents. Wouldn't you agree?
I would, and especially in this market, because most real estate agents are not working right now. That's a fact. The top agents are still working and they're still busy. No matter how bad this market gets, there's still going to be plenty of business. No matter how far down sale prices go, there's still going to be millions of people that need to move.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, there is in every down. And think about that. When you have 90% of them that don't work normally anyway, and then you put on top of it this recession, depression, and all the stuff that's going on today, this next few months, there has never been a better time to prospect, because most of the agents aren't working, and you prospect differently. And the other urgency I'll mention, only because it's free this month, bannerseason.com is free to join. So use Brandon's invitation code, and you can join the basic package for free. You're only going to pay for these products as you send them out.
It's a great point.
Yeah, you don't have to pay $50 or $100 or $300 to join, but they are offering a free gold membership this month. So if you get in, you know you're going to use it. Rather than pay $297 to join the gold membership, you actually get that free in April. So if you go there and join the basic package, you like it. If you really like it, consider joining the gold package this month, because it's free.
Cool. Last 2 questions I have for you, Jim. And again, thank you so much for taking the time. One is, what pieces of advice would you give real estate agents who take action on this video? They sign up for Banner Season. What advice would you give them as they start to prospect different lead sources using Banner Season?
I'll give you an example. I'll tell you, I was the top agent in my county many years, for the first 21 years, and top agent in my office most of the time. But in those first 21 years, I did not list or sell $1 million home. Sold a lot of homes. My average sale price was probably around $175, but I never went after the high-end stuff. Well, I started using these products, and 4 or 5 years into it, I thought, man, I think I'm going to try and break into that luxury market. Even though I was the top agent, I guess I didn't think I was worthy. It's kind of like the new agent that starts and they think, brand new agent, why would somebody list with me? Well, keep in mind that everybody's new at some time. The top agents had their first year in business. So I'm breaking into this new $1 million luxury market. And here's what I decided to do. I decided I was going to prospect 2 expired homes over $1 million every day, Monday through Friday, not 7 days a week, 5 days a week. $2 million a home, $2 million plus homes a day, using this method, sending them unique products. And my coaching involves 8 unique methods of follow-up. It's not just sometimes you'll send a card out like this and you'll get a listing. Sometimes you'll get a phone call, but normally you still have to do some follow-up. The difference is when you do the follow-up, they remember you because you sent them an envelope with a photo of their farm or their house on it. So that was my plan about 7 years ago. I'll do 2 a day, and I committed to do that for 2 months and see what happens. I listed like 10 homes over $1 million. 22 years into the business, I didn't list or sell one my first 21 years, whole 21 years. And you know why? because I didn't go after them.
Mm.
So I'm not going to suggest that newer agents go after $1 million homes right away, but it's the same thing. Pick a zip code, pick a couple zip codes, pick a price range like 200 to 500,000. I always suggest to newer agents, whatever market is the hottest in your market, whatever's selling the most, if that's 200 to 300,000, work 2 for sale by owners or expireds or a combination thereof a day, 5 days a week, and do the follow-up. And I guarantee you'll have success because you're going to be doing it differently than all the other agents.
Great, great advice, Jim. That's amazing. So let's end with this. I got one last question for you, Jim. So rewind 27 years, you're a brand new licensed agent. Knowing what you know now, what would you be doing differently?
Well, this company wasn't around back then. So, but, the agents are starting now. This company is around. I would definitely use banner season. It's like 90% of the marketing money that I've spent is on banner season because it's that powerful. I'm with Keller Williams, the #1 company in the country. Keller has nothing that can touch this. They have nothing that can touch this,
Yeah.
And what I would suggest that they do, and what I would have done differently, is focus. Agents are given, I said it earlier, 15 or 20 different things to do. So they go into the office, and it amazes me how many new agents go to every office training. They're there all the time, but they do 1, 2, or 3 deals a year because they're sitting in the office learning how to do deals. You just got to get out there. You have to focus. Pick a certain neighborhood, a certain price range. Go after every single for sale by owner and expired that pops up in that neighborhood. And you do that consistently for 6 months, and you're going to have 20 or 30 listings, and you're going to have 5 or 6 pendings. And if you keep prospecting 2 a day, which is where most agents that do prospect, that's where they fall short. And years ago, I fell short that way too. You get up to 30 listings, you got 5 or 6 pending, you're doing really good. You're going to make $20,000, $30,000 this month. So what do? You quit prospecting because you got plenty of business. I don't need to prospect this month. I'm making $30,000. So those 6 closings happen. In the next month, you have 4 or 5 closings. And now you're down to 10 or 15 listings, which probably aren't going to sell anyway. They're probably overpriced or they would have sold. So now you're down to nothing pending, and you're down to nothing pending because you didn't consistently prospect. So it's not like you got to get out there and prospect 8 hours a day. Just 1 or 2 hours a day is all it takes. And if you'll do that in the morning, focus on a certain area, focus only on expired listings and for sale by owners. And let me throw this in too, Brandon, because people tell me, Jim, we don't have that many expired listings. Well, that's going to change. But even for the past 3 years, we're going to have a lot of expired listings in the next year. But even in the past year, expired listings are phenomenal. I've coached over 150 agents, so I always get on their MLS with them on Zoom. And we go back 12 months. So you may have only had 3 or 4 expired listings yesterday in your MLS, and maybe none in the market you'd want to work. So you think, I can't work expires today. Bull crap. You go back 12 months and you have this list of all the listings that expired in the last 12 months in your area and your price range that didn't relist and didn't sell. You prospect those because most of those people still want to sell.
That's right.
Nobody's prospecting the old expireds.
I was just going to say that. Old expires is a great source of business that people are not focusing on. So, Jim, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it. I love that you were our very first episode of The Influencer. So I'll put all the links on how you guys can connect with Jim beneath this video. Jim, thank you so much, and best of luck to you the rest of 2020, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
Talk to you soon.